pectoral fins, nasal, these like really wide nasal rings, openings. Bamboo coral down there in the rock. Is that? Yeah, that's the same rock we're on.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a Herc footprint on the moon.
Yeah, wasn't somebody supposed to put a big letter H on the bottom? So that when you sat down at
That would be cool. Yeah. Oh, that'd be cool.
So Steve, here's a question from chat from a little while ago. When we collect a rock sample with animal life on it, do both biologists and the geologist get to work with it?
Yeah. So we will typically separate out the two classes of animals, or separate the animals from the rock, only because the animals do need to be refrigerated and the rock not so much, so that we can keep them alive for as long as possible. That remains, keeps their tissues in good quality. But yeah, that's the plan.
I'm going to head off to the north. There's another rock 40 meters away. So you want to do you want to do 20 meters to the north there?
That?
Oh, sea cucumber.
Yeah, was that one just behind us?
I didn't catch it.
I think there's one of the...
Now that we at least have a piece of a rock, I don't think we need to worry too much about keeping the bottom in the sight as we go down slope. So yeah, we might have to just jump off.
Oh, look at all those tracks.
A lot of biotracers, yeah.
Yeah.
There's some lumpy rocks substrate up here.
Ooh,
oh, another
rocks.
rock. Is that what is that?
I think that was a jelly.
Yeah.
Can we poke in here?
Sure. Close up of that guy.
Close up.
Looks
Go
like
ahead, Dan.
another precious coral, maybe?
Does it have some?
Oh, it's a bubblegum. Okay,
Okay.
we're all set there. Yeah, it's similar to the one we saw on the last rock.
Ah, okay.
It's worth taking a look. Sometimes the bubblegums could be confused for other precious corals. Sometimes they can be confused for Swiftia, which is a Plexaurid. It's good to take a look, at least partial zoom, just to get a better handle on that ID.
Is that a similar black coral?
Yeah, that one looks like possible Trisopathes.
Do you want a close-up on him, Steve? Okay.
No, I think we're okay. Something like that has been collected from this depth.
Roger. I couldn't quite hear you there.
Very large crinoids here. If there are any better looking rocks too, we can keep our eye out for that. It's good to take a few.
So Steve, I'm not sure if you already said this, but those like sea star looking things? Are those coral or sea star?
The ones on the seafloor right now are crinoids. They're echinoderms.
Ah.
You want to look at the
Ooh,
worm thing
Chrysogorgia.
there?
No, it's all right. It's in a tube. It's not much to look at. What is that? Chrysogorgia colony up top.
Wait for the boat before I can
Yep.
get to the other side.
We saw
there.
that one a bit deeper as well. Maybe this might be a good place to pop a Niskin. There's a little bit of diversity on this rock and in the vicinity. Can we pop a Niskin in this on top of this rock?
Sure.
It's quite flat.
And Niskins 2 through 6 are open.
2, 3, and 6, right?
Bit of a mesa.
Did she move already? Sure. Hit 5 for me, please.
5.
Can I zoom in there, Dan, real quick? Want to zoom in, Dan? Want to get the minute belt?
Yep.
Sorry, I should have asked you earlier.
No worries. There we go.
Oh, look, little palm trees down there.
Looks like they belong in a Dr. Seuss novel.
Open the iris just a touch there for me.
Yeah.
Cheers, that's good.
Pop.
Awesome.
Zoom in on the little palm trees there.
Okay.
What is that in Niskin number 2?
That was number 2, yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
What do we got there?
Roger.
Oh, they look like
They're
little
so
cup
cute.
corals.
Yeah, those are small
not this?
anemones.
Oh.
Actually, there's a couple of small things there.
Anemone.
There's also a small yellow coral underneath them. Do we have any more zoom on this critter?
That's full.
I can get closer, we're kind of miles away.
Yeah, if you got a second.
Oh, yeah, we do, yeah. Got enough tether now to go around the rock. Okay, can you go back to half
Yep.
for me and see where we are here?
Half soon.
Roger, thanks. Okay, we'll zoom in there.
Alrighty.
What
Full
is
zoom, that's it.
this?
Full zoom.
Roger.
It's tough to tell when they're this small. It's an octocoral. That's about all I got.
I can get a...
It has characteristics that are reminiscent of something like Acanthugorgia or Plexaurid, but it's really not much to go on here. I was actually curious about the anemones.
The ones
more.
above it?
Yeah, can you go back, zoom back up to the anemones?
Okay.
Full zoom.
Okay. Anemones are very tough. Tough animals to identify from video. It's almost impossible to get below a genus, but you'd often need sometimes multiple specimens to really get a good idea, and there just isn't the density here. So we're just going to get a picture and move on.
Okay.
We're all set?
Yep.
All right, move on.
Roger. Okay, can go wide, please.
I see three individuals there, so not a good sample it would make. Ideally, we'd want to have a couple of, when you collect anemones, it's ideal to have a few different individuals, so you can put some in formalin treatment, some in ethanol, so you have a bunch of different preservation types, because they're both important for describing a lot of anemones, whose taxonomy is just as much important morphologically as it is
I'm going to come around this
genetically.
rock the other way to take out my turn.
Oh, more Chrysogorgia.
Yeah, roger.
For those of you just joining us, we are currently diving down on a seamount near Johnston Atoll in the Hawaiian remote Pacific Islands. Or sorry, the Pacific remote islands. Hang on. I will update you on that. In a minute. But anyway, we are diving near an unnamed seamount that we have and hoping to find more pieces of coral and sea cucumbers that we can bring up to our lab and test samples on. Hello to everybody from YouTube watching. If you'd like to ask the team questions and into our official chat, go on and head over to nautiluslive.org, and we will do our best to answer them.
On the left side of the screen, there was a large coral.
Left side. Sorry, I'm not sure what you're looking at there.
It's more left.
More left.
Yeah, my left. Our left.
Chrysogorgia.
Still not sure what you're looking at.
There was even a bigger one, even farther left. So maybe like a couple meters.
Left, no,
I'll
left.
come back. I'll go. Quick shot of the backside of the rock.
This is
here.
interesting terrain.
Oh, yeah.
How do you think this was formed? This one specifically.
That's a good question. I'm not sure yet.
Oh. Thank you for that person in chat. As a little bit of a restake, we are currently diving near an unnamed seamount near Johnston Atoll in the Pacific Remote Islands. And we are currently looking for different types of sea cucumbers and different types of coral that look unusual or strange. So we can bring them up to our lab and test them for samples to send them back to shore, where our scientists will give a more in-depth description.
What is that?
So we've got possible Trisopathes, or maybe Chrysopathes, as well as Bathypathes in the area. This large bamboo coral, unbranched. You can see that the lower half of the colony of the polyps are completely retracted, but in the upper half they're extended, so maybe this associate is possibly causing some of that. I don't see any predation going on. There's also an Irradigorgia bella in the lower left corner. That's that coiled species. Very, very tight helix. very characteristic of that species.
You have another little Chrysogorgia colony by it, possibly.
Yeah, on the right-hand side,
Yeah.
I think that's Bathypathes. I think that might be what we had collected, but it just looked very different.
Or like by the base of this Irradigorgia colony,
Do a half zoom
a
there
little
for us,
pink
Dan?
blob.
Have soon.
Actually, no, that's just
Oh,
part of the branch. Just kidding.
maybe.
Just so you're aware, we got a 168 wrap in the clockwise direction.
There's one shrimp I can see in this colony, one large shrimp.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there he
Maybe
is.
some small mysids as well, possibly.
Myces?
Mysids is a family of shrimp.
Mysids.
Or they could be amphipods too.
Okay.
More likely amphipods.
Do you want to see the little black coral back there, Steve?
We don't need to linger with that one. And keep moving.
Did you want to keep exploring up here a little bit, Steve, or start heading toward the southeast?
This is not all that extensive of a feature.
Goes on.
No one sees.
Goes on for a ways. And
Okay, but let's make one move in that direction and just see if there's any more loose rock material.
I can go back and look at whatever it was I missed on the left there.
Not seeing anything even potentially breakable here.
Not yet. Let's see how far it looks in the sonar, whether it's worth moving or not. So that thing you were talking about to the left is going to be right here somewhere?
Yeah, I can see it right now. Looks like a big Chrysogorgia.
Oh, that's what you're running about. All right.
Oh, that one over there?
Yeah,
I think
we
that
didn't
may
see
be
it
a
before.
Oh, I think that may be Irradigorgia.
Yeah, on the left-hand side, that's Irradigorgia. Bella, same species as the one we just passed a bit ago.
And the one on the right-hand side could be Trisopathes.
The one on the right-hand side actually resembles a different genus called Lillipathes.
Lillipathes.
Yeah, much more sparse, branching, tall. Something called Lillipathes like that was collected here by the Okeanos explorer several years ago. So I'm pretty confident that's what we have here.
You want a closer look up there?
Yeah, we could take a peek. A lot of small umbrellapathes as well.
So half zoom there, Dan.
Have soon.
Actually,
There's squat lobsters on
certainly
it.
I will take a look at this.
Yeah, I see one
Yeah.
or two.
Yeah. Oh, look at an enemy behind it.
On the top right.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like one.
This could be something else too. This might be something more like a heteropathes or maybe parentopathes.
We have more zoom if you want. We're only halfway in there.
Yeah,
No.
I don't think we're going to be able to tell much more from here.
All right.
Let's, yeah, we can pass on this one. Something like that has been collected on nearby areas, though. We collected something very similar to this up in the Voyager Seamounts cruise last year, end of last year.
Then to answer your question, Connor, speaking of amphipods, amphipods, am I saying that right?
Amphipods.
Amphipods, thank you. How did that sample of the large amphipod we collected a couple dives ago turn out? I think it went pretty well, didn't it?
Yeah, it came up whole. Yep.
Yeah. And we were, our lovely biologist Liz, they were able to dissect it a little bit, put it in a jar, and now it is in our super cool freezers of science.
The amphipod was for the MCZ. It wasn't dissected.
Never mind.
Yeah, those are only the holothurians and the sea cucumbers and sea urchins. The amphipod, I don't know. I suppose you could dissect it, but there's really no need to.
Just no need to.
Yeah, it's better to keep some specimens intact for ID purposes.
Fair enough.
So it's not in the freezers. It's a lot of the animals that we preserve are preserved in ethanol, which is alcohol, basically, high concentration. So it desiccates the tissues and provides some protection against things like microbes that might want to degrade the sample. It also is a good DNA preservative, and so that's how we transport them. Well, typically they'll remain in solution for, well, usually just before we get back to Honolulu, and then we'll transfer them into vessels for shipping.
So how much usually ethanol does it take to, for like an entire journey? How much, or a voyage, how much ethanol do we pack on board?
It's very dependent on how many samples we have and what type of samples they are. Gelatinous samples will often require a substantial amount more solution because they have a much more percentage body mass of water, whereas some of the corals and sponges are minimal. But I don't think it wouldn't be out of the question to say between 5 and 10 gallons is our typical.
Oh, good eye, I didn't even see that.
Wow. So what's with the like odd light patches of sediment here?
They're probably bioturbation mounds. There's probably animals that lived in there and built up these mounds over time.
What sort of animals are you able to hypothesize? Or?
In fauna, worms, various different types.
Neat.
Sometimes they're like tunnels they create can be fossilized.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Some crustaceans are burrowers too. Isopods.
That was a big
amphipods.
surge.
Yeah, it was.
Thought for a second.
What do you think we should look for rocks here? Should we go down here?
Yeah, I would go down to look for rocks.
I'm gonna come down a little bit here.
I don't see anything
don't
really,
come
but
down there. Wait till the boat gets past it.
Roger.
there's a fish right here as well.
Wow, good eye.
Might be a prime rock hounding area too.
Quite a steep drop off here. All silty on this side.
That one actually looks
Do a
really
house
good.
in there,
This
Dad.
one's pretty too.
Oh yeah, no, it's a very strange angle. Sometimes they look more breakable than they are.
It's half sound.
Right.
There's another type of eel here.
Biting each other a little bit here. I'll just
I think
back
this
up
one's
out of
also
your
a
video
Congrid.
because I don't want my picture taken.
My camera's having a hard time focusing. It's
I'm
obnoxious.
bouncing a bit down at, you can go wide,
Wide.
down at the
There you go.
end of my tether there. We're moving the boat off the cliff here.
Don't see anywhere for you to get a grip.
Tons of rocks here.
maybe, oh.
Go look around a bit while the boat's moving. We gotta.
Okay.
Dan, do you ever use the starboard bio box cam instead of just the rail there?
Huh? No. Oh yeah, I use it to put samples in there.
Okay.
So here's another question from chat.
Depends on the sample.
Yeah.
You must need a large amount of alcohol to preserve some of these sea cucumbers. Is there a continual process of preserving them? Like, do you have to refresh the jar or
Down
change
here
it
kind of
out
looks like a good area if
for
you don't
more-
have to keep moving.
for more fresh alcohol after
Or,
a certain time
well,
frame?
a lot of these areas maybe, even down here as well.
Yeah. Just poke around here for a minute.
Looks good. Yeah, sometimes we refresh the chemicals. We don't want the concentrations to drop too low, which happens when you dilute ethanol with seawater. So it depends on the animal. That one looks doable, but they always look better higher up.
Yeah,
when you
for
get
sure.
down low.
And Steve, the to preserve them, is it pure ethanol, or you don't use formalin or formaldehyde on any of these stuff in the deep sea?
Yeah, it depends on the.
Is that a
the
fish or a
section
rock
that's
in the
ROV.
middle of that
That's
ravine there?
really big.
Fish.
Nah, we'll get it.
You think it'll fit?
We got 2 ENF boxes.
Right below, looked like
I thought it was a
it
fish.
was loose. Right under you.
It's a rock. It's a rockfish.
There you go, Brandon.
Yay, we made the joke. Yeah.
Most of the time we prefer to use ethanol, but we will use formalin if it's required. That's not that big. It's like 20, 30 centimeters tops.
What do you think about that?
That'll fit.
Yeah, good. That one looks loose.
Yeah.
All right. Take my tails on a rock here. Get the manip out, Gibson, and poke that rock once. see if it
Roger.
moves.
Or any of these really. You could take potentially multiple here, but they might be too small.
A few of them down here. That
It's
might-
true, this one looks like it might be good as well. Or even the one next to it, this smaller one.
That one's loose.
Oh, that
Wow.
one's very loose.
You want the smaller one?
I think so, yes. I'd prefer the smaller one. But if Kevin's watching, he can give me some advice.
I think the smaller one's loose.
Yeah.
Can you make it loose?
I can try.
Is that funny?
I'm sorry.
The
Well,
sleep
I
deprivation
guess
One
helps.
second. No,
Not happening.
not happening.
Poke
Alright.
that one closer,
Roger.
or poke a couple other ones. You never know what's this. Nope.
That one feels pretty solid too. Just moving Herc around. Just that big boy is the only loose one.
Okay, I mean, if it fits, it sits.
Yeah, everything else is What do you think, Dan? Is it too big?
No, that'll fit.
Yeah.
If you can pick it up, it'll
Let's
fit.
give her a try here.
I'm not going to be cutting that on the ship, though, for sure.
Yeah. Get a rock hammer after it first. And then cut
Yeah,
it.
we can break it with a
Yeah, do we
hammer.
have
Yeah, we got
it?
tools.
Like a sledgehammer or something?
Of course we do. We're an ROV outfit.
Fair enough.
Whole drawer full of half.
Okay, then
Of course, it's always the big one that's the loosest.
Nice.
Exciting.
Nice grab.
All right.
yeah, that's
Thank you.
nice sample. Oh, it's got a tunicate maybe?
Yeah.
Now what is that? Yeah, tunicate. Carnivorous tunicate.
Oh,
Sorry,
The
Dan, I
little
should
No, you're good.
on
have
top.
warned you.
No worries.
Sorry.
And is that a cup coral on it?
Yeah. Yeah. Any chance,
Yeah, extra goodies.
You gotta
Any
put it
chance-
in without breaking the cup coral.
Yeah, if you can do that,
Yeah.
you get 100 watch bucks.
100 watch bucks.
Whatever
What-
you
what's
do,
that?
Yeah,
don't
shrimp
let
plus
it
tip.
go.
Oh
Ooh.
my gosh.
Look at
Wow.
that. It feels like Christmas.
Hey, you got the goodie bag rock.
Okay, I'm going in one of the big boxes on the starboard side. Oh dear.
Oh boy.
With the cup coral face up.
Nice.
100 watch bucks.
I think I'm shoulders pretty close to that rock there. Does it look okay? Oh yeah.
Okay, coming out.
Roger. Okay.
Oops.
Cool.
What happened there?
I don't know. All right. Let's go.
This will
for
bring it up in the lounge, so I
Yeah.
was watching.
Sounds
Now I can
good.
see you put it in a box. Don't break the cup coral.
There's 100 watch bucks on the line.
It's.
See where it is?
I don't actually see where the cup coral
It's
is.
in the
though.
upper right corner of the video.
Okay.
There it is.
Let's go in.
If you'd like to see what our ROV guys are seeing.
Oh, the
Go to
arm's
channel
having a
3.
weird little. It's not going up.
Up. Because it's all the way up on the shoulder, you gotta tuck in the elbow.
Roger. Thank you.
I reckon if you tuck in the elbow a little more and open your jaws, it'll fall in and the cup coral will be on top.
Where's the cup coral?
Twist back to the right,
Roger. Right there.
and I'll tuck in the elbow a little bit.
Tuck it in the
I'll
elbow.
go right down, pitch down. Tuck in your elbow a little more. And open the jaws there.
Think it'll fit?
Let me
It's
see
tough.
for a
Yeah,
second.
it's halted here.
Couple of love taps will do it.
Blue button's still on. Right, gotta. This is like when I take dinner. My eyes are a little bigger than my stomach, you know.
Deja vu, Gibson. Didn't we do this before?
We have done this before. Atalanta's looking good. I'm gonna come down a bit on the tether.
Of course, now the boss is going to come in now that I have the manipulator.
I will be right back.
It was all Dan's fault.
Get a relief. Be good. We
guys
need a
do
bigger
it.
box.
Smaller than it was, but
There's the cup coral. Oh no.
I
Right
don't
on
know,
the-
Gibson, is that 50 watch bucks maybe? Or did you get the 100?
Oh, I don't think I deserve the 100.
Technically, it's in.
Yeah, we didn't say we had to close the
Yeah. I'll give you the 100.
it's not really a sample until it comes up either.
Fair enough. Oh, wow.
Wow.
All right, I'll
This is
take
why
it.
Dan's the man.
Yeah,
Wow.
done it once or twice, huh?
Just didn't want to break the cup coral. You could have put it in.
Looks good to me.
Okay.
Thanks, Dan. I'll close the tray. Tray coming in. Ooh, it's a heavy tray now.
Have to drop weights after all that. Cameras.
We got a little friend coming in for a landing.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a
Oh,
cool
that's
video.
cool. Wow.
It's a skydiving crinoid.
What an action
Tray is
shot.
Let's see
closed.
if it makes a sound effect.
It needs a sound effect.
Yeah. This is why we need a soundboard.
What do crinoids sound like?
Skadoosh.
Skadoosh. Wow.
That was pressured, Dan. Leave me alone.
What does it sound like when you're skydiving, Dan?
Not that. If it is, you're having a bad day.
I completely lost the plot of where we are, where we were going. We're down on the side of
All
a
right,
cliff
well that
somewhere,
box is
right?
probably closed for the remainder of the dive.
I think that's one of the, that's going to be, Steve will have to weigh that rock. You might have the record.
I don't think that's going to break the record. I'm going to rain on this parade.
Pretty close.
The record was 90 pounds?
Holy moly.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
You must have not had the separators in the forward box and just filled the whole thing.
It's a density
Nope,
thing.
it was in the starboard box.
So we came in.
I don't think we actually weighed all the rocks individually, though. We only weighed them. Oh, maybe we did. Yeah, we did. We tried to maintain box weight, though, under 50 pounds.
How's driving with that thing in on board?
Tilting and all that, right? Yeah.
All right, I think we can move off this mountain.
There's a fish in the bottom left.
Yeah, I see it.
Actually, I
Okay.
changed my mind. Hold on. Can we look at the
Wow,
yellow
that's
thing coming up?
Holy.
Roger.
Sorry about that. This just wants to run up. There we go.
Do a half zoom there, Dan.
Is that some kind of Irradigorgia of some
Half
sort?
zoom.
No, I want to see if it's similar or different from other yellow Plexaurids that have been collected at
Okay.
these depths. So
Okay.
like a tight
Hit
zoom
the
if
porch light
possible.
for us.
Maybe with some, as good of lighting as you can get.
Yeah, I'll turn on the porch lights here.
Porch light's coming on. Sorry about that.
Nice. Oh, there we go.
Those are beautiful serpent stars.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. You got any more zoom on the polyps there?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sure do.
Show your boots.
It's full.
Okay. All right. Yeah, let's take a slurpable piece of this, just a small piece,
Roger.
for confirmation. It's a Plexaurid, but beyond that, we're not sure. It doesn't resemble one that was collected recently in this area, so we know that this is a new collection for this unit here. There are some Plexaurids a little bit lighter in color that were collected at shallower depths, but not this deep. So once we got some good captures, we can go in for a small snip. If we zoom out, I can kind of pick which one might be the
Yeah, I'll have to
faster.
reposition. You got your close-ups there, do you?
Yep.
Okay, you can go wide, Dan. I'm gonna come around the, I gotta, basically
Why?
landed on
think,
the craft there. I'm gonna come around.
You want 5 on the craft?
Not yet, no. We were just leaning, leaning our right shoulder up there. I'll come around and
Okay.
lean the left shoulder so we can get the minute out.
DSC got a neat shot of a squat lobster there.
Yeah, I got him.
Very nice.
tighter zoom there if you want, yeah.
Sure.
I can go ahead and do 5 on the boat. So.
Roger that.
I think something like, you know, a piece like this would be great.
Roger. How are we doing in Atalanta's okay there?
Atalanta's looking okay, yeah. Delta 1-4, depth 1-7. Hanging out with the football up here.
I might ask you to, if you can. Oh, no, we're all right.
Yeah.
So the vehicle's kind of moving around. This might be a little messy. Sorry, Steve, you want to circle again?
Yep.
I lost it.
Just like a, you know, a little bit off the top of these.
Roger.
Maybe 5 centimeters or so, something like that. Chunk.
Come on.
Yeah, that's a good size.
What's
Funny.
that?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Got enough there?
You think you can slurp that, or do you want to put it in the box?
I don't know if he'll go through the slurp. He might.
There's probably some other small branches in there, so maybe we'll just put it in the box. Forward box.
Right there.
All right. Good on captures. Can stow it.
Full wide.
Right there, thanks.
Oh, it's already open a little bit.
Left side?
Yeah, both are free.
Yep, left
Okay.
side is
Yeah,
fine.
you can, should be able to open there. Oh, maybe a little more. That's good. Watching the DSC there.
Right.
Great. Good collection. Thanks. All right. Now I think we're really ready to move on.
Okay, where are you thinking?
Well, we got the rocks we wanted, so I'm not too worried about going for the slope. So maybe we can just head off to the northeast towards waypoint 3 at whatever way keeps us in the contact with the bottom for the longest. But if we need to pull off and land back down, we can do that too.
Okay, sure.
Nice.
Look at that.
Wow.
So cool.
Ooh.
So
Pretty.
pink.
This is a squat
So watching
lobster
the mini Zeus here, Dan, it looks like there's some loose cables that move in the water.
on this umbrellapathes. I think this is
Wow.
this was a recently described genus, actually, of chirostylid Europtychus. There.
Very cool.
So cool.
Nice.
So these animals will usually perch on top of these colonies, and you can see its claws are ready. If anything swims by or floats by, it's going to be next meal.
Got a little fish in the bubble cam there.
Yep. Fish on the bottom.
I think that was the same eel we were seeing a bit earlier.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'm out for a little bit, but I'll be back.
Okay, thanks, Steve.
Full wide.
Roger, let me get sorted out here. Yeah, sure.
Oh yeah, same eel. I think.
So 070 is downhill, right? Yeah, okay, you come into ship. Roger. Sure. Come up a bit, Gibson.
Roger, coming up. Am I okay to turn counterclockwise?
No.
Roger.
Okay, tilt up now or come up, one or the other.
10-4, tilting up. Well,
And we're back.
Nice bamboo whip there.
Sure.
All right, here's a question from chat for the ROV guys. Up front, is overheating of the electrical motors and hydraulics ever a concern?
Overheating?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. We can only run on deck for probably less than 2 minutes. And that's at idle pressure when we give it the beans, as we say, and come up to full system pressure. 210 bar or 3,000 PSI. It's just definitely less than a minute on deck. When we're launching and recovering, the other day we had 27 degrees C temperature at the surface. And that's almost like running on deck, right? So what we do is we kick the HPU into idle. So we're just making about 500 PSI as opposed to 3,000. So the pump is idling and the motor's not working so hard. So what happens, yeah, the motor will get hot, cook itself to death. And hydraulic oil will get hot and expands our reservoir to the point where it is dangerously full. And then the hot oil obviously it's not good for the components. The viscosity goes way down and it's like running your car engine hot. Same kind of bad things happen.
So if that were to happen, on recovery, something like that, do we have the parts on the Nautilus to fix it?
Absolutely.
Ready for anything here.
Yeah, we have a spare motor, spare pump, spare valves, lots of O-rings and seals.
Could we take a closer look at that coral right there?
Sure. Can do a half zoom there if you want.
Thank you.
Sure thing.
Bubblegum?
Yeah, this will be another bubblegum coral.
Bright, bright color. Wow.
That's great, thanks.
So the polyps are sort of like the translucent part, and then what is it
go
connected to?
wide,
Are those
Sure.
like kind of like the lobe?
Let me know when you're good to
Yeah,
pour
that's
the bubble for gauge checks.
denser sclerite-filled
yeah,
tissue.
you can do kinetics.
Each
Roger.
of those polyps can actually withdraw completely into that tissue.
Oh.
So there'll be a little, if it were to withdraw the polyps, you'd be able to see a little calyx that they can close over the top of the polyp there.
All right, looking good.
Come up a bit. I'm going to come back underneath you and we'll get...
Roger that. I'd like to turn counterclockwise to take my 6-8 out at some point.
Yeah, I have to get over it.
All right.
It's not happening.
Roger that.
But you can come up. I'm going to come up under you and come uphill so we can have Atalanta in the deep water.
Gotcha.
And then you will be able to turn. You'll get a half turn.
I guess I can settle for that.
You can do a half zoom too, Dan.
Sure thing.
Good, thanks.
Nice Parentopathes black coral.
It's got some wide, like, those polyps or those?
So those are, they're called pinnules, and each of them will be covered in little tiny polyps.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
Okay, you can go in. Keep coming up there. So
Roger, coming up.
Yeah, you can hold it 20-meter delta there as I come on you.
Gotcha.
I'm going to probably come up quite fast here.
So do we know why we see a bunch of these Chrysogorgia just strewn all over the place on the bottom? Is this like a preferable habitat for them, or?
We can
Yeah, this
keep
seems
the
to be
ship
pretty good
moving too,
habitat. Well, all they really look for is this hard bottom with high
We
enough
can
current.
keep the ship moving, I think. It's basically...
So the only thing we...
Sure, yeah, let's do 40. Seemed like he was in a hurry to get down the hill.
The only reason we weren't seeing them earlier was just too much sediment.
Ah, and that sediment is that white stuff around us?
Yeah.
Is that our friend in the sand again?
Yeah, I think we're back to where we were.
Yeah, same spot. Trying to find a different one.
So why don't crinoids like sediment?
Crinoids are filter feeders, and they're looking to get their tendrils up into the water column.
There.
Roger, coming down.
See if we can find a different way down the hill this time.
So then
How about
the
this
best
way?
place for crinoid would be like on a cliff face, or?
Or just up on a big rock, or that's one of the reasons they'll climb up on corals, is just to get higher in the water.
See, 070, you say.
And as soon as we get off the top, we're back to just what we were seeing on the other side of this feature.
A little
down
tight
a
on the
bit.
tether there, yeah, coming down.
You should be in deeper water there.
Okay, roger that.
I got to turn and go the other way. This way. This is the way we want to go. Should get some relief here. That's good height there.
Some anemones on it.
Wow.
Yeah, they've taken over the whole top of that bamboo.
Those are fly trap anemones?
Yep, and it looks like there's at least 2 or 3 of them up there. And that may be a little hemicorallium, but it may also be Paragorgia down underneath.
You want a closer look there?
Yeah, that'd be great. We haven't seen any hemicorallium lit at this dive.
Go ahead, Dan.
Yep.
Half's in there.
Half so.
Yeah, that one looks like hemicorallium to me. So.
And how do you spell that? How do you spell that for?
hhemmisscor-allium.
Here, I gotta move along.
Great, thank you.
Full wide.
Hello. Dinner break.
No, I'm good. Thanks, though. Why is that not going? I'm not. Can you tilt down at all? I can't. It won't. It's not tilting for me.
It's not. I'm trying. I'm hitting it, and it does what it wants.
These stalks of sponge, sorry, not sponge, these little coral stalks that we see, what type of corals are those, do we know?
These are sea pens.
Really?
Yeah. These are probably, took a sample of one earlier. I'm guessing, although we'll find out when we get it to the surface, that these are going to be protoptilum, just based on the morphology we're seeing on the bottom, but we will see when we get it to the surface.
And is it very common to see all of these sea pens so clustered together?
It can be. You can get hundreds and hundreds in an area. This is very consistent with what we were seeing just on the other side of this feature, that as soon as you're down onto the slopes, it's just these really dense fields of this species of sea pen.
Can they be considered coral gardens of sea pen?
Yeah, you could call them a coral garden at that point.
And speaking of coral garden, what classifies as a coral garden? Is it just a number of coral around, or is it a diverse bunch of coral?
It is kind of still argued amongst the deep sea coral community, but the official kind of published definition by Bob Stone at this point is it's about 3.8 corals per meter squared.
Maybe
there's
a power
your unit of
cycle
measurement. Sure.
So maybe that'll make it behave.
No. Well,
So here's some.
It won't move at all now?
it's intermittent whether it moves or not. Like I hit it now, and the second time it goes. Third time, it just like it's intermittent.
Huh.
But sometimes it won't change. And
We need to swap it out for the next dive. Josh wants to test the other one anyways.
sure.
Wow.
That'll tell us.
Might be the largest crinoid we've seen yet.
Not sure what.
That's it. Big and look at
Can you
that.
come down just a few meters for me?
Big old crinoid.
Maybe 25 centimeters across.
At least. Huge.
Huge. So here's another question from chat. Is there a prominent current direction here? Since I see these sea pens looking a particular way on the slope, and how strong would you think that the current is?
At least on the other side, we definitely had a current coming from, I want to say the south, although once we got up onto the slopes of the feature, it seemed to be moving primarily downslope. So it seems to be kind of moving around depending on where you are on this little mini feature, kind of creating local eddies, etc.
Then to really quickly answer that question in chat, when is the next crew switchover? The next crew switchover will be at 8 o'clock Hawaiian Standard Time. As you can see, if you hear new voices or people switching in and out, that's just dinner relief coming to give our team a chance to go put some food in our stomachs and then go back on watch.
Sure.
It's not actually a Sea Pickles hostile takeover.
Bridge nav, 20 meters, 070.
The sea
It's a
pickle
coup.
queue.
Could be a hostile takeover. I can forcefully mute Matt's mic, and I'll start reading my own questions.
Mom, come pick me up. They're threatening to mute me.
Nice Metallogorgia with a little Chrysogorgia behind it.
Ah,
Ooh.
bad pilot. Look the other way.
So, that another question in chat. How old do you think some of the coral is? From what I hear and what I've been told, it's a little hard to tell exactly how old coral is unless you constantly return back to the spot and take data of it.
Yeah, we don't actually know the growth rates of many species, and it's very species dependent. So some of the bamboos can get to be several hundred years old, and that would be consistent with some of the sizes we're seeing. Things like some of the sea pens and some of the soft corals can actually grow much quicker than that and have overall shorter lifespans. So it's really species dependent. One of the species that I work on, Primnoa, grows, I think it's like 10 centimeters a year, but I'd have to go back and double check that number, but still pretty slow growing. But yeah, you really have to dial it in per species. You can't really generalize across them.
Do we know what the largest growing coral is? Is it bamboo coral?
Like in physical size?
Yeah.
Or I would actually say probably bubblegum coral. There are
Really?
some bubblegum corals that have been pulled up in trawls that are tree trunk size.
Wow. Whoa.
That's wild.
You want to grab that giant rock? Nah, I think that one's too big.
Did you see our rock grab?
I heard you got a big old 30-centimeter rock.
Yep.
I've never been prouder. My heart is still beating.
Gibson got the rock.
Yeah, it's going to be
Gibson.
fun to shift.
That one's going straight to your eye, and they're going to cut it up for me.
Brandon, you got your work cut out for you, bud.
Bring your head to the left for me a little bit, please.
Is it?
So we're seeing a lot of
Oh, yeah.
almost like mounds of rock, not so much what we're used to with the sheet flow. Why is that?
Where are we right now? I thought.
We need to get closer to
Well, right now
to
we're
it, really.
basically in the caldera of an old volcanic cone. And so what we're seeing is just little bursts of last plugs and last bits of volcanism that's coming through. So the slopes of this were all sheeted flows that were completely consolidated and sedimented. Now we're actually floating around inside the lip and the caldera, and so we're just seeing little bits of, little last gasps of volcanism.
So then when they kind of spurts out like that and then hardens, that's what make those mounds?
Yeah.
And these little holes that we see everywhere, just on top of the sediment, how are those formed? Were those coral before? Were they just by erosion just made that?
We zoomed in on a couple of them, and they have little like tubes coming out of them, and we think they were what they call the snail proboscis.
They could be snails, they could be worms, but they're basically burrows of animals that are living in the sediment.
Oh, it's spazzing out.
Is that the famed sea pickle?
Find a happy spot uphill as we're going downhill here.
That is a root of a fiber optics sponge.
I've been fooled.
Insufficient droughts. I got the squall was coming through. Winds were up. Yeah.
A little shark
there's
there.
A little shark, yeah. Down the right-hand corner.
A little shark? Oh boy! You know, just when Team Delta Dan, the Benthic Storms, finally see a shark, it's not our regular team on watch.
I bring the sharks.
Me too.
Come down a bit for me, Kylie. I'll go chase the shark here.
That's a teeny tiny little one, like 10 centimeters.
Would you say it's a baby shark?
Baby shark?
I would say it's a baby shark.
Sure it's not a tripod fish?
We're not going to continue that because we're going to get copyright striked, but...
Half zoom there if you want.
Unless it's not a shark at
like
all.
a
It's a tripod fish.
Tripod fish? Boy, do I feel silly.
It was swimming like a shark.
Sorry, editors.
It's a good looking one though. Nice blue hue.
Yeah. Apparently, according to Steve, that's their only color. It's just blue.
I love their little reindeer antenna.
Yeah. The one we saw on the last watch had very simple antenna compared to that one.
Can we get a zoom on the anemone right next to it, if you have time?
Yeah. It might be a little sloppy because we're
at
the end of our leash here, but...
That's a cool looking one.
That's a hydroid.
A hydroid?
Yeah, a big single stalk hydroid.
A hydroid.
Awesome, thank you.
Nice.
Okay. What's my turn situation? I gotta turn into the hill, don't I?
To answer that question in chat, do you think the lights from the ROV are like steroids for the coral? Probably not, considering that most of these corals are not, they do not have photosynthesis. Ugh, what did I just say? Photosynthesis. I'm not capable of it at these depths, so I don't think the light does much of anything to them.
And also coral are animals, not plants.
That's true.
Yeah, all of these corals are what we call azooxanthellate. So zooxanthellae are the symbiotic dinoflagellates, or little algae that live in tropical corals, and they're actually what does the photosynthesizing. At these depths, all these corals are azooxanthellate, so they don't have those symbionts, and they're completely what we call heterotrophic. They capture their prey with their polyps and feed out of the water column.
Are there types of corals that can that photosynthesize?
None that do it themselves. They all do it through symbionts.
Ah, okay. So what would some of those symbionts be?
All of them are a dinoflagellate called Symbiodinium.
Symbiodinium?
Yep.
It's in the name.
Haven't even got to the steep part yet, have we? Thank you.
But it has chocolate, it has white chocolate in it, and additionally
She's bound and determined to send me home with the Nautilus 10. Yeah, I don't try not to get mad. It takes too much energy. I have my spouse for that. Yeah. Alexa, fly my ROV down the hill so I can eat ice cream.
For those of you wondering, it is Sunday here at the Nautilus, and every Sunday we get to have an ice cream day. So if you'd like to get some ice cream at home, you can join the tradition.
Another tripod fish there. It's funny, they had a very shark-like swimming motion.
I feel cheated.
By who?
By myself.
Oh.
I have a small request, Nav and pilot. Can we do more of like a straight due east motion?
Due
Downslope?
east. Are you listening? You're being talked to.
Wait, what am I being talked at?
Oh,
What?
can we do more like an eastward movement? Straight due east.
Straight to the east. Yeah, we can do that. Bridge nav, can we cancel that last move and do 30090? Eastward movement. I didn't hear it at all.
As I heard, Nev, I'd like to make a request. You put in the move, and I was like, there's no way he can hear what's
Yeah.
going on. Yeah.
Thank you, Connor.
This is another fiber optic sponge.
Fiber optic sponge?
Yeah.
How did it get that name?
The base of it looks like a bunch of wires coming up.
Ah.
I assume that's how it got its name, 'cause that's what it looks like.
So then this must be a fairly newly discovered sponge. Am I wrong in that?
Not necessarily. So that's a common name. It's not widely used, but the genus name is Cercolepis. It's the same genus as the Polyopagons, or same family as the Polyopagon we were seeing. But yeah, they do have fiber optic bundles as their stock. So not the same. Almost the same kind of material that fiber optics are made out of.
Cool. Then answer the question in chat. Just jumped on the stream. Is all that sediment? Yes. Okay, actually, I shouldn't be so sure of that, but I believe all of it is sediment, at least that sort of sandy white stuff covering the rocks that you're seeing. I'm getting a nod and a thumbs up from Kevin. I feel
These are
very
really
accomplished.
big, but,
We can grab this one.
yeah, no problem. Hitch it to Atalanta.
Yeah.
Counterweight.
The ROVs going by, those brittle stars is sort of like the stun ray comes out, and they just sort of like drop.
Yep. Abandoned ship, the first sight of a UFO. Here's a big old tunicate.
Oh wow, that's a huge one. That's a ton of kit.
That's
You guys
screaming
wanna
for some
zoom on
googly
the
eyes to be put on it.
What type of tunicate is this? What did we say? Just a.
Yeah, go ahead, video.
This is a it's a solitary predatory tunicate, probably in the genus Megalodocopia.
Just an auto tighter.
That's fun to say.
Yep, but there are a few other different genera as well, but that's one of the more common ones.
We need to pop some googly eyes on it.
Yeah.
The lasers, Dan.
You do. If you do ask Megan aboard the ship, I'm sure she'll actually happily give you some of her stash of googly eyes.
Not to put on critters, though.
Umbellula here has a bunch of eggs in it.
Oh.
Eggs?
Those are where the reproductive material is stored.
Going.
The base of the polyps.
Cool.
So, does that mean that the crinoid was that, or coral?
Coral.
Coral. Does that mean the coral is can sexually reproduce?
Yeah, they do have multiple different feeding or reproduction modes, but most of the time they are broadcast spawning sexual reproduction mode animals.
And what does broadcast spawning mean?
So basically their gametes are going to float up into the water column and combine there usually. And then the fertilized larvae will have some period in the plankton and then followed by settlement. That can vary from days to months to weeks sometimes.
And when they find a quote-unquote, they find like a perch or somewhere to stay, do they stay there indefinitely, or can they choose to break off and go to different areas?
Once they settle, they're settled. They're not going to move. They're pretty much stuck.
Is that another Paragorgia covered in zoanthids?
Yep. Victorgorgia too.
Something I asked Meredith and we didn't have a clear answer on. Do zoanthids seek out specific species? Because it seems like you always find them on the same kind of stuff.
I don't know if it's so much of a choice. Sometimes it is. So we know that some zoanthids, like Kula manamana, the Hawaiian gold coral, does prefer and usually seeks out a particular bamboo coral, particular species of bamboo coral. For the Irradigorgiids, it seems to be that there's a preference by the zoanthid for certain bubblegum corals.
Thank you, Connor. While we wait for our geology guy to settle in, for those of you just joining us, welcome. People from YouTube and from our website at nautiluslive.org. We are currently just off of Johnston Atoll, and we are in the Pacific, remote Pacific Islands at the moment, just going on top of these unnamed seamounts, looking for different kinds of, specifically sea cucumbers, or any kind of coral that looks a little out of the ordinary, to sample and bring up to our data lab, where we can label them, sample them, and then send them back to shore, where our scientists can do a more in-depth labeling, if you will, of the samples we collected here on the ship. If you'd like to ask any questions for the team or for myself, you are more than welcome to go over to our website at nautiluslive.org and use our live chat feature for our 24-hour live stream. Great. I think I heard that was a sure. How much does Hercules actually weigh?
5,000 and change. 5,000, what are we at now? 5,700, 5,300, somewhere in there. It depends on how much jewelry we put on.
And then how much does Atalanta weigh?
Atlanta's about, that's a good question. I want to say 22,000 something, 28 maybe.
Oh, wow. So why is it so much heavier than Herc if it's so much smaller?
It's lighter. It's about.
Oh, sorry. I heard that number wrong. Now I just feel stupid.
I think it's the USBL spread. I don't know where we are at the moment. I know you're looking there, and I'm basically under you. Right.
Here, Brandon, here's a question for you. Do hydrothermal vents form as a part of this evolution of this kind of quote-unquote underwater volcano?
Right, because we're going quite down a steep hill here.
No, not really. They're way more sparse than underwater volcanoes are. But, I mean, they can be an associate of underwater volcanoes. It just requires some kind of fracture to open that seawater can filter through. And then that fracture goes down to the depths where there's magma, and that heats up the water, and it comes back up, and that's the hydrothermal vent. It's sort of like a hot spring, but underwater.
Ooh. So how hot would you think they would get?
I think they get to 700 degrees Fahrenheit.
Ah, nice
so
and
like
chilly.
400-ish Celsius, 350.
What's the ship moving at? What speed?
0.2 knots.
0.2. Can we bump that up a little bit?
That's up to the pilots. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, we can try it. Might not.
Yeah, we've seen enough
of
this. I think we don't have to stay in bottom contact the whole time downslope.
Roger.
We're seeing a lot of the same stuff, although we saw Peninsula on this side that we didn't see on the previous side. So
just having a little curiosity here with our...
Then Jason, to answer your question super quickly, this is dive H1935.
You're not bringing your head around, are you? No, that's fine. We'll just, yeah, that's fine. We're kind of side-hilling for a while, so. I was trying to stay uphill, but I give up.
I'm going to slow down the interrogation rate on these guys, so you'll lose USBL for a second. Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't mind me talking with a mouthful of ice cream.
So here's a question for our ROV people. Is there any feedback from the manipulator arm back to your hand controls, or do you work solely by camera view?
There is feedback, but we, most of us disable it.
Why is that?
It's like trying to hold a boa constrictor while you're trying to write a sentence legibly. You know? Or trying to paint a picture with a snake in your hand. So that's my 2 cents of it. Yeah, I'm right in my dust cloud here. I can't seem to get away from it. Come out ahead a little bit. Oh, it's chasing me down the hill. You'll have to come down. You're up 30 meters. I'm coming down the hill all the time, so, but I'm right under you, so if you hold the delta at 20 for a while, or yeah, relatively tight.
Here's another question.
All right, so we want to speed up here. Next move. Yeah, 0.3, 0.4. Okay. Bridge nav, 30 meters, 090.3 knots.
Here's another question from chat. Do you know where we're going to be after we finish our Johnston Atoll area?
After this expedition or after this dive?
After it's. Do you know where you're going? Where you're going to after Johnston Atoll?
So site selection. We have some ideas, but it's going to be weather dependent. So that's all still to be confirmed.
A little still up in the air.
Still not that great outside of the immediate area of Johnston.
I'm going to wait for you to catch up a little bit. Oh, good.
Here's a question for our ROV guys up front. What is / was, where to go? There. What is / was the flashing thing in the Atlanta cam?
Flashing thing.
I assume they saw something flashing on Herc and they want to know what it was. Never mind, I guess.
I'm not sure
There
what the...
shouldn't be anything flashing. It looks like stuff flashes when the lights get...
Maybe it was a figure of our imagination.
I don't know, video artifacts. Okay, I'm in the right spot now. If I can figure out how to move the vehicle without being in a giant dust cloud. Well, see you can see in Atalanta what's happening as I lateral down the hill. That lateral is just squoosh, good because we're side on to the hill here.
Steve, here's a question for you. These circular sedimentary hole patterns, are these the same? Are those the same that some experts suspected are related to the fossil organism of the paleo? Hey, Brandon, help me out here.
Paleodicton? Dictyon?
Yeah, I don't believe so. I think those fossils are... I've only ever seen them in hard substrate, so I mean, possibly, but I've only ever really heard about those in passing on other expeditions. I don't know too much about the details of their biology or paleontology myself.
Yeah, definitely want to keep moving. You can do some longer moves. Steve wanted to go east first. I wanted to go due east. Get the hell over with as soon as possible.
If we need to pick up and go into blue water to move quicker, we can do that too. There's nothing really here that we're...
Well, we can, let's try and pick it up to half a knot, see what happens.
Kicking into overdrive.
Here we go.
Really quickly going to answer that question in chat
Double our speed.
after navigation. Are all of your dives in the Pacific, or have you taken it to other oceans? So I believe the Nautilus actually started out more in the Mediterranean and Black Sea area, and then we made our way to the Atlantic, and then, Steve, what year did we transition over to the Pacific?
2015.
Yes, in 2015. The Nautilus started doing dives in the Pacific, and we've just been doing those dives ever since. Then for the person in chat asking where the depth is, if you go to nautiluslive.org, you can see that little right-hand technology little board. If you scroll down to the more data tab, you can find our depth, salinity of the water, oxygen saturation, and a bunch of other cool information that I think you might find useful, or at least interesting.
Some of these larger depressions look very similar to what we've called beaked whale scours in the past.
Peaked whale scours?
Beaked whale scours, yeah. So it's tough to tell because they're not very fresh. You know, take that term with a very large grain of salt, but these kind of triangular scours could be from beaked whales, but they don't look very fresh. They look filled in quite a bit. Usually when they're fresh, you can see it looks like a plow came through and pushed sediment aside. We don't know exactly what they're doing down here, but it wouldn't surprise me that they occupy this area over time. But nothing looks super fresh here.
So the beaked whales, why do they come down to these depths? Is it just this is where they live, or do they do it for mating purposes?
Probably for foraging, I would imagine, yeah. It's tough to really know for sure. They're very enigmatic animals.
Beaked whale.
Go ahead. Try and let you get it overheard a little more so we can see on the other side of it a bit as we're coming down the hill. Zoom in there for a minute if you want. Waiting on the boat here.
Nice. Right on.
Yeah. Another Cerocolophus, glass sponge, brittle star.
Can't hold it. Arcs side-to-side control. My ability to control Herc side-to-side is not very good.
I will answer that question in just a second.
See what happens when I take my hand off of this thing. Just floats.
Not much current, is there?
Yeah, there's a little bit coming down the hill, but not a lot, no. See a little guy in the background there waving.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's like right on the, like a boundary layer though. Okay, let's get offset there. I'll try and. Yeah, you can do a move to get there. How's that? Or a move to the bottom of the hill. Let's do that.
Yeah.
So when the move's over, we're done.
Then to really quickly answer that question in chat, I keep hearing chat mentioned on the YouTube live streams, but chat is disabled on all 4 of them. Moment.
See, we should bet some bucks on whether Steve can go 200 meters without stopping to look. That'll be a record.
So where is the chat that they're reading? Well, person in chat, let me answer that. If you go over to our website at nautiluslive.org, you can scroll down past where everybody can see all the watches, and there is a Q&A bar where you can type in your questions. They will pop up on our live monitor chat, of which I can read it out to the team and answer your questions that you may have. But it is only on our website at nautiluslive.org.
Atlanta's learning to skydive.
Should see if you can catch its pitch and roll when it does that.
Okay. Yep, roger that.
We recorded all, but I just never bothered to go back and look at it.
In your GUI, do you get a full roll reading? Yeah, you do, eh? Mine's snipped by the...
Oh, another fish.
What's that?
The roll reading is snipped off by some sort of... It's odd.
It's a little one.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Then to really quickly answer that question
You
in
have
chat,
found a bug, wow.
do Hercules and Argus always dive together? No, they don't always dive together. Right now we're actually with Atalanta, which is one of our other ROVs. Sometimes different ROVs are better at certain jobs, or if we need to switch out ROVs if they have technical issues or we're putting in upgrade parts, sometimes we will switch out with, for example, we have 4 ROVs on the ship. We have Hercules, Little Hercules, Atalanta, and Argus, and sometimes we can have combinations of those all together when they dive.
Sometimes we just want to dive with the shiny one, which is Atalanta.
Then Jason, if you want to,
moving at half a knot now.
Jason, if you would like to see our data of where it is, you just have to scroll down a little past the technology little window and click that more data, and that's where you can see our depth and our and everything else.
Yep.
Might be less bouncy that way because it's
Okay.
we're moving 090.
Roger that.
You can put your head at 090. I'll try and stay right in front of you. Yeah.
So you got to minus 20 degrees there in that last dive.
20?
Yeah.
Wow.
Come down a touch here.
And to answer the question of what type of ice cream, it's called Blue Bell.
Isn't that just a brand? Isn't that just a brand?
Maybe?
I'm pretty sure it is. I think it was vanilla, white chocolate, macadamia nut.
Yeah, that one. Then with that follow-up question of how long is this dive going to be, the expected length is around 20 hours, and we launched at, what was it?
Around 12:30.
12:30.
Just around 12:30. So we have another, it's currently 1800, so we have a little ways more.
14 hours-ish.
Yeah.
That means we'll get
A
blue
long way
water,
to go.
won't we? Or will we be shallow again? That was pretty cool.
That was very cool.
It was. 5-minute
15-minute,
recovery.
yeah.
15-minute recovery.
The double take at the numbers after you ran them.
So there's a rock 20 meters away. We want to go look at it.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna let it go.
Is that what this
it's
is?
a little rock.
On the sub-bottom there? Is that what you're looking at?
The sonar, yeah.
Okay.
I would have to eat the watch bugs to resist the rock.
Resist the rock.
Just got the whole mess moving at half a knot. Although she seems to be. Not half a knot at the moment. it was a little closer, I would have gone for it. It would have been like pull your heading around distance. Does the nav screen has a speed over ground readout too, doesn't it? I mean the DP screen. Well, that's not, it must, because that's where we get the Grafana data. There was on the old one, I know. I haven't spent that much time staring at the new one.
I think that's the wind or current.
Pretty much everything's dead on this side. Very few living things. Hydroids. Even the sponges called it quits.
Where is it, Drew?
Oh, I knew it was there somewhere.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
Speed course. Oh yeah, it's matching now. Grafana's up to 0.6.
Sponge stocks covered in hydroids, yeah.
Sponge toxin? Correct.
So at 0.5 we get a
Sorry, Steve,
80
you
meter
said
layback.
sponge
I could have gone
stocks
20,
covered
40,
in what?
68.
Hydroids.
Hydroids.
More fun to use the mouse.
Looks like a footprint in the sand by your lasers right now.
Yeah, Neil Armstrong was here.
Training.
That's what we could do. I had some old boots. We could put those on the bottom of the ROV, so when we land, it leaves footprints. Yeah, it could have like 4 shoes. Or we could do 4 of them, and it looks like there's 2 pair of old boots I've been meaning to donate to the when we go into port.
Was anyone on board for that experiment? I think it was in the Santa Barbara Basin where we did. One of the scientists filled a boot with concrete and used it as a drop weight for one of the sensors. I don't recall that one. It's a while back. 2016.
All for trolling the entire oceanography community.
Yeah. Left a big boot print on the bottom.
Absolutely.
All right. Here's a question in chat. What happens if you have a failure on Hercules or Atalanta, like a thruster or something like that? Do you have a recovery procedure, or does Hercules become a sea ornament? There is a recovery procedure. We have tethers attached to Atalanta and Hercules. So Hercules is attached to Atalanta, and Atalanta is attached to the ship. And so we have a giant, I believe it's wire, fibers, something like that, that we're able to pull, yes, that actual long, if you actually switch over to channel 3, you can see what I'm talking about. That sort of long wire that feeds into the ocean is actually attached to Atalanta. And if we have a failure on either of our ROVs, we will lift them up out of the water and back on decks. And then we will assess the damage, or assess the problem, and our ROV teams will fix it.
Must investigate.
They'll investigate it. How'd I do, Dan?
Yeah, perfect.
Yay!
I wasn't listening.
It still counts.
Yeah, we had something to go look at.
Oh.
So it's within tether range while still moving the ship.
I don't know if that counts.
Cool little channel there.
Oh yeah, look at that, a little outcrop.
Bamboos. This is definitely hemicorallium though. precious coral, different from the Irradigorgia we saw further up. Bamboo
Looks like
sticks.
a cup coral on the right-hand
Irradigorgia,
side.
cup coral, yep. Zoanthids.
Is that a
One
crinoid?
crinoid,
Yeah.
yep. Narella. Metallogorgia. Umbrellapathes. Pretty much the same cast of characters as a little bit further up.
Nice.
The precious coral, though, is unique to this outcrop here.
Back up a little.
Irradigorgia.
Yep. Large Irradigorgia magnispiralis.
Some branched bamboo, maybe.
Atalanta heading 130.
Roger.
Oh, Walteria. Might
Oh,
be
wow.
the first one for the dive.
Do a quick zoom on it. Do a half zoom there while we're on the...
Oh.
Right.
Then to take a crack at this question in chat, a lot of times ships will have feminine names. So why do most of the ROVs have masculine names? It's a tradition, I believe, at least this is what I've been told, when ROVs are put into commission and built to be given Greek god names. So they can have feminine names, gender-neutral names like Atalanta, or masculine names like Herc. But it really just depends on who makes them and who names them. But generally speaking, they follow Greek mythology. It's pretty cool.
Our ROVs do.
Our ROVs do, at least.
Yeah.
I thought Hercules was Roman mythology.
Is it? Because then...
And Atalanta's a huntress.
Yeah, Hercules is Greek.
Is it? Okay.
It's about to say,
I can never remember which one was which.
Disney
No,
lied to me.
Hercules is Roman, but Heracles is the name of the
Okay.
Greek version.
It's like tomato and tomato. It's
I
the
believe
same.
Jason's Greek
I don't
too.
know about that.
It's
There might be some Greeks that might disagree with you.
all.
Can't say that about Romans though.
I think you're right, Drew.
When we do reach the bottom of this slope, I think we're going to proceed northeast towards in the direction of waypoint 3, maybe a bit further south from waypoint 3, but we're just going to cruise at least half a knot and see what we can do.
Okay, copy that.
Nice outcrop. Sparse branching bamboos, crinoids, Acanthugorgia, Irradigorgia.
Is it pretty steep on the other side?
Kind of getting down to the layer of the sediment ripples.
Yeah, we can keep moving. Yeah, we can always pull it off the bottom if it... Sounds like Steve's on a mission to get somewhere, so...
Yeah, it's so the way this dive was planned, we have a bunch of scattered features on the seafloor. We're going to try and just take a look at.
All right.
But there's a oftentimes a pretty substantial distance between them. So we're gonna try and, you know, maybe the first 100 meters or so, we'll move at a more moderate pace, but then after we kind of get an idea of what's in the area, we can pick up the pace and move at a, you know, cruise across the bottom at a, you know, lowish altitude so that we can still make out, count things.
Roger that.
Oh, bucket.
Oh, yeah.
A bucket.
Is it a bucket or a can? Paint can?
Yeah, I was looking
Cool
for
if there
that.
was a hermit crab.
Wah, wah. There's a hermit crab.
Like an old tin bucket.
So shiny.
It's a little deep for that.
Yeah, that's a bucket.
Well, I guess I don't have to go to Home Depot anymore.
Is it a bucket or a pail?
Here you go. One premium seafloor rusted bucket just for you, Kukui.
Thank you, thank you.
Are we really ready to go beyond the pail here?
Yeah.
Beyond the pail?
Alright.
Oh, Steve.
What are the odds there's a cephalopod under there?
Oh, no.
Slim.
You never know.
What is that underneath that?
Never know until you lift it up.
Is that a
Plastic
shirt?
bag. Cloth.
Yeah, it looks like some sort of cloth.
Oh, there's
Oh,
a
look,
little
a shrimp.
coming in. Yeah.
I think the shrimp wants the bucket.
I mean, I can't blame him.
He's like, get off my
Might
lawn.
be a perfect size bucket for that sample we took.
Just saying.
Just have Herc carry around a bucket with a rock in it.
Sounds cute in my head.
Another bubblegum coral there with zoanthid, yellow zoanthid.
And answering that question in chat, what are the sea conditions like, and is the ship rocking around? It's not super bad. It's
Irradigorgia.
pretty normal.
Can we do a half zoom on the purple Irradigorgia?
Sure, go ahead then.
So not bad at all.
Half zoom.
That's good.
Okay.
If you'd like to look on channel 3, you can see our conditions.
I would say this cone is pretty symmetrical all the way around. It's been kind of the same up and down. We've got the sheet flows at the bottom, sediment ripples, possible sheet flows, I don't know.
You're probably right.
Yeah. I'm convinced it's volcanic. I had my money on failed reef. Mushroom coral and Damascus too, as well as some Colophacus now, sponges.
Irradigorgia, Magnus
Big
Pirellus.
fissures and cracks.
And to really quickly answer that question in chat, what other man-made items have you come across on the seafloor? We come across a flip-flop and a bucket. I believe
Oil can.
we found an oil can,
Last watch.
a car tire. So we find one about once per dive, maybe, something like that. And yes, it is a little depressing, but